What's going on, Omnibuddies? Mitch here, and today we are doing another Omnibuddy overview. What are we looking at? We are looking at Stewart Kenneth Moore's double feature. It's crazy. It is absolutely nutty. It is MK Ultra, Sex, Drugs, and the CIA. All right, so this, as of now, I believe that there's a second hardcover coming out that's going to collect both of these, but right now it has two hardcovers and really short. I mean, it's not like a super long story, obviously. I mean, look at them. But this story is got to be one of the craziest books I have ever read as a graphic novel. Not just because it's the story is just unbelievably nutty and the art is very much matching to boot. I mean, if you look at, let me cover up the booty right there. If you look at, the covers, you can kind of get an idea that this is going to be some crazy art in here, and you'll see it in a second. But what makes this even crazier is this is actually based on a real, actual CIA project that happened for like mind control and using drugs and experimenting and just all the insanity that went into the justification and how they conducted these experiments with willing and unwilling participants. And really they're kind of starting the whole drug craze of LSD and all that. Just absolutely insane. All right, you know what? Enough of me talking about the books. Let's take a look at the books. All right, so here is Volume 1 and Volume 2 of MK Ultra, Sex, Drugs, and the CIA. This is a graphic novel that was written and illustrated by Stewart Kenneth Moore. It's based on screenplay by Brandon Beckner and Scott Simpilla. So that's why their names are on here, because it's based on their screenplay. Here we'll give you kind of a, here's the, the spines, there we go, words. And yeah, this is produced by Clover Press. And then we have the backs, and man, oh man, do these covers and backboards give you an idea of what you're in for. So these retail, Volume 1 retails for $29.99 and Volume 2 retails for $25.99. Not really sure why there's much of a difference, because they are nearly identical in thickness. I mean, Volume 1 is technically a little thicker, but yeah. And these are not oversized hardcovers. These are more, here's I Hate Fairyland that I have sitting here. So this is the general omnibus size, oversized hardcover by Image. So you can kind of see, I guess if you want to see thickness wise, it's about the same thickness as a general like Image hardcover. And here we can put one on top here. You can kind of get an idea for scale. It's a little bit, just a minuscule, tiny bit narrower. And then, maybe 3/4 of an inch shorter-ish. But yeah, there we go. So there you have the scale. These do not come with, whoa, my table's moving. Let's get that straight. All right, these do not come with dust jackets or anything like that. So let's get into, here, I'll put Volume 2 off to the side. We'll get into a Volume 1, and these have great end papers, which you'll kind of figure out what these mouse type end papers come to represent, unless you are an aficionado of LSD already or drugs. You might already have an idea. No judgment, but there you go. So kind of some little glossy paper in here, but yeah, so we'll get right into it. Very trippy. This book, be prepared for very trippy. And these books are not safe for work. There will be nudity in this. I will try and skip as much as possible and try and blur as much as possible that I can in this so that YouTube does not get mad at me. But yeah, so it gets real trippy real quick as you start reading these kind of it's like TV commercials and shows, but yeah. So this, oh man, yeah. So it's San Francisco, 1971. So it's the 70s, and the drug LSD craze is just about to launch, and this kind of goes into how that got started. So let's take a quick look. So get right into it, and this basically kicks off. You have this is a true story. Well, okay, not a true story, but it's overall a true story, but they've had to embellish a little bit for the sake of creating an actual story. So this starts right off with basically the scientist creating LSD and just tripping tripping pretty hard right off the bat. And as you can see, the art just gets insane immediately, and it just keeps going from there. I mean, you're going to hear me talk about the art a lot in this book because I mean, look at this. I'm just going to try and show it a little bit closer so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. I mean, what in the world? Now I kind of want to like stick my hand in here and do like I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so it's just trippy and it goes right into it. So this is the prologue, and then you're going right into the story where you immediately are launched into San Francisco in the 70s, and you are tossed in with some crazy people dealing drugs, drug dealers, and basically you are stuck with a struggling journalist, and he's trying to get his life together, and he's got his girlfriend, and they're just trying to live life, and struggling to get by financially and emotionally and as in a relationship. And he gets thrown into this story by accident, stumbles across this dealer who is arrested, and then all of a sudden he's gone and released, and he tries to interview him, and he's like, do not come after this, and he decides to, and then all of a sudden the police are after him because he was talking to a criminal in prison, trying to interview him. And so then obviously that sparks some curiosity into why the police would not want him talking to this criminal, and it goes deep. And then you start meeting crazy characters who may or may not think or do know what is actually going on, but it is a crazy mystery that this young journalist has to go on, and can he hang on to his former life? Will he lose it? What's going on with him? And then at the same time, you start meeting the CIA and these characters who decide, wait a minute, maybe we can compete. Maybe we can compete with other countries and their programs in brainwashing and mind control and torturing for information. I think I'm gonna have to kind of look to the side before I flip some of these pages so I don't get too much nudity in here, because I don't want to have to be blurring too much or worrying too much about things, because there is a whole heck of a lot. But so then you're dealing with what the CIA is going through and trying to develop these. Oh geez, it's so hard to even find a page to show you. That's here. I'll go like that. Just to jeez, it is just crazy. So then what they go through to try and figure out how to use these drugs, and then the ethical issues that they bring up as the operatives trying to figure out how to use these drugs and when is best to do them. So that kind of stops right when they getting going in the story. Lots of mysteries going on in there. And then volume 2 kicks in pretty quickly, just immediately picks up again. And man, do you learn to hate some of these characters in here. Holy cow. There are just characters in there that, like, I just couldn't, oh man, I just was rooting for them to not make it through, I guess. It was, yeah. Anyways, so by this point, the journalist knows stuff, the jig is up. He knows there's a major cover-up happening, and he needs to, one, run for his life, and figure out if people are who they say they are, and why they know so much, and why they might not know, and what's going on, because everyone's brains are just completely warped and just all over the place. And man, the drug trips and how they draw faces in this is just absolutely insane. And then occasionally you get some little annotations in the bottom, especially for like songs and lyrics and things like that are mentioned. But yeah, oh man, this guy right here, oof, just makes me, my skin boil, my blood boil. Ooh, he was, anyways, which I'm having that visceral overreaction to seeing him a couple weeks after reading this. So you know that the characterizations were really good and really well done. I shouldn't be going page by page because it's going to be hard to give anything away with this because it's just wonky and crazy just to look at, just going through without any context. But man, I got to say the story overall is just absolutely incredible, well told, interesting. It never really lingers too much, so you're always interested in what's going on, and you are always kind of being strung along in a good way with the mystery along with the journalist. And it wraps up. It's a great, it doesn't leave loose ends hanging. It is self-contained in these two books, so you don't have to worry about, finishing and there being a big cliffhanger and it not ending. It is complete, which is awesome. The art in this book is just crazy. I mean, you can see, this is pretty generic panel structure. But as soon as drugs kick in, all of a sudden, bam, you start seeing panel structure just going nuts, and things just start, spinning out of control when drugs start getting involved. And wow, it's just incredible how it's done. The coloring really, really takes it to a whole new level in this book. Yeah, there's, very stark contrast, and then all of a sudden it's just like neon bright, and then just kind of back to black and white again, which, like I said, is very fitting for this book, for the story at least. And it's super cool, very interesting, very trippy. I would definitely recommend you do not take breaks when you read this story. I tend to stop and maybe read another book in between, since it's two books, I might stop halfway through after volume 1 and read something else. Do not do this with this, because you definitely want to go along for the ride and stay with it and not get too lost in what happens, because it's hard enough just to follow it panel structure wise sometimes when they get into these really bad trips. But this story can get a little bit confusing, especially when everyone's faces start to get distorted and warped, and you got to really concentrate on who's saying what and what exactly is happening. But very cool. Let's scooch to the very end here. So it kind of finalizes on some of these things with these like trailer commercial kind of in the time craziness that they do mix, it kind of blends reality with ridiculousness, I guess, which is, what happens with LSD, I assume. I've never done it, but I assume. but there are really no extras in this. So I would love to see panel progressions and structure layouts and pencils and all that in these books. That would be super cool to see at the end, but it's not in there. Maybe in the next version, next printing, they'll do something like that. That would be phenomenal to see. But that is a quick look at Volume 1 and Volume 2 of MK Ultra, Project MK Ultra, Sex, Drugs, and the CIA. All right, so that was a quick overview of MK Ultra, Sex, Drugs, and the CIA, Volumes 1 and 2. They're not totally in print anymore, but I have heard that they are coming back in print as one not oversized, but like as one hardcover collected edition. That's what I've heard. That's the rumor mill. Really excited for that to come back in stock because more people have to read this book. It is, well, one, definitely not safe for work. It is not for the kids. It's crazy. So, but more people who are into the crazy books and a little bit of the take from history. I don't think it's not fully a true story. Obviously, there's some embellishments and you need characters to take us along for the ride. So those are kind of written in to kind of formulate the whole story about the real story of what the CIA actually did. Absolutely bananas. I cannot believe, well, I guess I shouldn't say I can't believe, because crazy things happen all the time in all the governments. We won't get political or anything like that, but it is just insanity that this happened. Anyways, if you want to find out more about it, definitely read this book. MK Ultra, Project MK Ultra is just I just keep saying it. It's just bananas, absolute bonkers. But anyways, that's it. Art was phenomenal. Story was super cool. Outside of the insanity that it was, I don't think I've ever really seen an art style or books that just like just constantly do this kind of art in and out of those LSD trips. Just crazy, super cool. Sometimes it's a little hard to follow along, but I think that's kind of the point too, is having a hard time following along someone's LSD trip, probably kind of getting you into that mindset, or out of that mindset into that mindset. I don't know, but yeah, so a little bit hard to follow at times, but I think that kind of gave you a little bit of the experience, kind of gave to and fed that experience a little bit more too. So not really knock, just maybe a fair warning. But speaking of fair warnings, like I said, definitely not for kids, definitely not safe for work. So if you're going to be reading this out in public and not in the safety of your house, fair warning. But yeah, that's it. Hope you check it out. Hope maybe it turned you off on that book, but you know what? Stewart Kenneth Moore, you put together some crazy books, and I'm really excited to see what you do in the future with graphic novels. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, do all those things, but like I say, the most important thing to do is comment. I love talking with you all. You're going to be real hard pressed to find any comment on my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, a little bit of Twitter I use. You're going to be real hard pressed to find a comment that I do not respond to or interact with, unless it's spam. Yeah, so comment. Let me know in the comments, if you're needing a little bit of a prompt, what the nuttiest book you've ever read is. Like, that's just so off the wall, it's just so crazy. Maybe it's crazy story-wise or art-wise. I am definitely interested. Let me know in the comments. I think we'd all be interested to find out what crazy books are out there. All right, I'll let you go. Take care. Stay cool.